All right, well tonight we're gonna be making teriyaki meatloaf with oven fried rice, and we're gonna be doing it in the oven. So you probably heard me say oven in our title. But what's really cool is we're gonna be doing this in our Brilliance nonstick loaf pans. You get a set of 2 of them. They each hold 2 quarts, and one of them is gonna be doing the meatloaf, and the other one is gonna be doing the fried rice. They're gonna be doing it together in the oven, but 2 different containers here. So these are my go-to for making lasagna. Maybe if I need to do one version of lasagna or a different version here, or if I need to do 2 batches of something. I love this for bread. Easy cleanup. You can throw them in the dishwasher. They take heat up to 450 degrees. I love their beautiful non-stick surface. You just want to make sure that you use something that won't scratch the surface. So I love our silicone cooking tools for that. All right, so let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do the fried rice portion of it. Oh, and by the way, one of the best things about these is they come with lids, so that if I need to, like, you know, make and freeze or keep in the refrigerator, or if I need to travel with them, I love that these lids are just perfect for what we need to do when we need to store or travel. We're going to start with 1 cup of long grain rice. It's going to go right into one of our loaf pans here. 3 cups of either vegetable or chicken broth. I love chicken broth because I think it's super flavorful, so we're going to put that right in here. That's 3 cups. And then we're gonna need a 1/4 cup of the teriyaki honey sauce. So this is one of our pantry items from Pampered Chef. And so I've always said that our pantry items, our seasonings, our rubs, our sauces, they're really nothing but cheaters. Like, we're just all trying to make chicken behave, trying to make food taste better. So sometimes we look at, you know, something like chicken or like a recipe like this, we're like, well, what else can I do to make it a little different? If you've never tried any of our pantry seasonings, give yourself a try to something that's in the line, all right? Whether it's a rub, seasoning, whatever, or sauce. But this teriyaki sauce with honey is absolutely delicious. You can use it as a dipping sauce. You can use it in, you know, in a recipe like this. You can use it for basting your vegetables, your meats, just to add that extra pop of flavor. So we're gonna need 1/4 cup of this. Now I've got the 2 cup measure-all cup. We sell them in a 2 cup and a 1 cup size. I always like the 2 cup because I always seem to need like a 1.5 cups of something. But just make sure when you put it together that's one of the tips. A lot of people are like, I would like to like this, but I'm just not sure how to use it. So it comes apart. You can put this part in the dishwasher, but don't stick this part with all the measurements and stuff in the dishwasher, because the dishwasher will eventually eat off all of that writing. So just want to make sure that when you put it together, follow the arrows. Like this arrow says up this side for liquid. So obviously we want to put the open side up because liquid's going to go in here, but we're not going to really need this for liquid. We're going to use this for a sauce. So I'm actually going to turn this over and push this middle part down and kind of dry measure it a little bit. So I'm going to measure it to 1/4 cup, because then I can just eject it out and push it out. I like this for things like Crisco or ketchup or mustard or mayonnaise. So I can actually put it in here and then just push it out. So we're going to do 1/4 cup of this for our fried rice. Okay. And then I'm just going to bring my little pan over here and then just pour it out just like that. Whoops. Alrighty. Didn't mean to make a little bit of a mess. All right. So we're just going to scrape it off here. Give this a little bit of a stir. Okay, so now we're gonna need about 1 inch of ginger that's been peeled, but we need it grated. So this is the cup zester. So let me just kind of tell you a couple features about it. So I love that it's got this lid, which is great. It kind of helps protect that surface, that grating surface. But also here on the bottom, there's a little tab right there. So when I hold it down, it's actually the cup that will catch like whatever I'm gonna zest. And it's got a little holder here, okay? So that can be handy if you're dealing with a small piece of food. All right, and then there's also like windshield wiper blades underneath, and I'll show you how this works. So I'm just gonna grate this fresh ginger into our teriyaki rice mixture. Mix it all the way around. All right, so I've got a little piece left, and that's what this little holder is for. If I wanted to use this kind of as my little extension, I could use that to go ahead and just finish grating it all the way around, okay? So that's what that's for. So let's check and see after this has all been grated. Again, just put your little finger here, lift up. You can see all that grater, but here's where you've got that little windshield wiper going on in the back, you know, to kind of just make sure you get everything out of here, okay? So we're gonna just And ginger's a little bit fibrous, so, you know, not surprised that some of it's kind of hanging on there, but get everything out. So there we go. All right, and that's going to go into our mixture here. So I also want to tell you, you can use this to actually measure, all right? So what you want to do is put the lid on here, and there's actually some measure marks on the back here. So you just want to make sure that if you're going to measure, just make sure, you know, all of it comes down here, so that way you can kind of see, you know, what the measure lines are. So that's the best way to accurately measure anything if you're using this as a measuring container as well. So this is going to go right into our rice mixture here. Okay, and one of these scrapers is going to be super great for this product so it doesn't scratch your surface, okay? And then all this can go right into the dishwasher, all right? So just gonna let you know that. That cup zester, I love it for things like chocolate. You can do your citrus with it and things like that, but also store in it like I showed you. All right, we've got 8 green onions here. I'm gonna need to separate the greens from the white parts, but I can just dice it all together. So I've got one of our 8-inch chef's knives. It's our foundations knife. And so just make sure, I kind of like that pinch grip method here, all right? And you just want to have like a nice little rocking motion. If you're going to move your food around, make sure you use the back of the knife, all right? But you can just kind of just make sure, and I'm just going to kind of feed everything through here so I just don't lose contact with the board. Nice even slices. And the great thing about our knives is they're made of high carbon German steel. They hold a super sharp edge. And you just want to make sure that when you are clean them by hand washing them, because if you stick them in the dishwasher detergent is super caustic. It'll just work to just dull that blade. So the best way to clean this and save the sharpness of your blade is to make sure you just hand wash it. Super easy, and it'll just make that sharpness last a long time, okay? All right, so I'm gonna kind of just finish pushing these through, getting all of my green onions, because I'm gonna need it for the actual meat portion of our meatloaf. Okay, so we've got our green onions, our white portions, that are going to go into our rice mixture. So we're just going to pop that in there. I saved the green pieces for the meat mixture. All right. All right, cool. So hopefully you enjoyed the little tip about the knives. I tell people all the time that if you just don't put them in the dishwasher and you hand wash them, that's going to help you save the sharpness of your blade. Also, moving food around with the back of the knife, if you need to do that, that also helps it. People ask me the difference between honing and sharpening a knife. Honing is getting that point, like the 2 angles of the blade that go with very tip top, helping it stay sharp by running it through a honing tool. But over time, depending on how much you use your knife, you know, that point ends up becoming something like this. It kind of flattens, and you feel, you know, little nicks and chips in the blade. That's when you want to sharpen your knife. So make sure that you get someone to sharpen it, which puts the angle back into the blade. But honing the knife, getting that very edge as sharp as you can, running it through a honing tool before you use the knife, helps maintain that edge a lot longer. All right, now we're gonna need to add about 12 ounces of mixed vegetables here. This is a frozen bag of mixed vegetables. And sometimes you've got that little ripper top, but sometimes it doesn't work. So that's why I love the bag clip and slicer. They come in a set of 2. One part of it is the clip. So if I need to just save my bag and I need to pinch it closed, I can do that. I love that it has a magnet here so I can just easily put it on the refrigerator. But the other side of it, the part here that's kind of open, that's actually got a slicing blade in it. So all you have to do is just put your bag in there, pinch, and pull across, and it cuts that open, all right? That's one of my favorite features of that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put all 12 ounces of our frozen mixed veggies in there, and then we need to do 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. So I've got that here. It's gonna go right in, and this part of the recipe is done. I'm just gonna give this a quick stir, cover it with foil, and it's gonna go into a 400-degree preheated oven along with our meat. And I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with our meat mixture in the other pan. So I'm wrapping up our fried rice portion in the pan with foil. So just remember, these lids are not heat safe. They're for storage, they're for travel. They can go in the dishwasher, but they don't need to go into the oven. All right, we're gonna need to add some vegetables to our meat mixture. So we're gonna need a red pepper and a carrot. So I've got a red bell pepper here, but it gives me the opportunity to show you our pepper core, which is really a 3-in-1 tool. This piece right here is part number one is a core. So if you think about coring out tomatoes, coring out cucumbers, I don't think it's strong enough to do like coring out something like an apple. Now I have cut an apple in half and then cored out the half that way. All right, so you got that core right there. And you've got part number two, which is the pepper core. It's the big part, it's got teeth here. You can just kind of line it up over your stem. I might need to pop that stem off, there we go. Line it up and then give it a twist, okay? And it helps take all of that core out. All right, now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the seeds out, and if some seeds remain, part number three is the little scoop loop, and it's got teeth here too. So I can just kind of go around this pepper, get all my seeds and ribs out, okay? And then get this ready to go into our twist and chop. So now we're gonna need to peel a carrot. So this is the pivot peeler. So I hope you can see that there's a track here. So you can peel vegetables like this, okay? But also you can pivot it along the track. And so if you need to do something like potatoes or something long, you can do that as well. It works for left-handed people, okay? I tend to like it like this, okay? And you can go back and forth with it, all right? Because that blade kind of bevels a little bit, so you can just do some really fast peeling with it, okay? All right, we've got a beautifully cleaned pepper here. I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of chunk it up a little bit. Now we need to have these vegetables finely diced. So I could do it with a knife, but I absolutely love this electric twist and chop. It's one of my favorite products. I'm gonna show you how it works. It's got a bowl here, a clear bowl. Easy to pop apart. This goes in the dishwasher, the blade goes in the dishwasher, and also the lid. All right, now, what makes this so magical is that when everything's put together, the blade goes up and down. Let me show you. Love that. All right, it also has a pulse setting. So we need things finely diced. So we're gonna put our carrots and our peppers in here and finely dice them. It will not work unless you actually have the lid on. Now, there's a little well up here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll kind of tip it towards you a little bit. It's got suction feet. I like that it stays nice and grippy to the counter. But if you're doing something like a salad dressing and you need to emulsify the oil, you can just kind of pour your oil in here and it'll drain and drip in here and just start blending. This is the pulse setting, so this is what I recommend. All right. Talk about finely diced. It looks great. Okay. One of the things I like about this particular product is this stem here where my blade actually rests on. It's nice and tall, so I don't have food falling down into that well. All right. So there's our carrots and our peppers finely diced. But you guys, I use this for making whipped cream. Like this, I have a full-on button setting here that can just keep going, and I also have the pulse. So if I'm making something like homemade whipped cream, I'll just put my whipping cream in here, my powdered sugar, my vanilla, turn it on and let it just run for a minute or so and walk away from it. But if I don't need that much dicing and I don't want it to get over processed, that pulse button is actually the best thing to use. All right. All right, so now it's time to work on the meatloaf portion. I've got 2 pounds of turkey in here. Now you can use chicken if you want to, or ground pork, that's fine. So we've got that. We've also got a cup of panko breadcrumbs, that's gonna go in there. We have got a 1/4 cup of the teriyaki sauce with honey. So here's some more of that coming back into the mix. I'm just gonna push out the rest of it right there. All right. We're gonna need a 1/4 cup of the chicken or vegetable broth. So that's gonna go right in there. We're also gonna need 2 eggs. So here they come. The tops of the green onion are coming in here as well. Coming in, all done. And then we're also going to need our green, our bell pepper, our carrot as well.
think this is a great opportunity to use another Pampered Chef seasoning, this 3 onion rub. Again, just a great cheater. I think that turkey can be kind of bland, so adding some extra seasoning or depth to it. You can put some raw onion here if you want, but this 3 onion rub does a great job. So 1 capful is equivalent to a tablespoon. So the rule of thumb is about a tablespoon of seasoning per pound of meat. So there's 1. So that's a quick little sheet for you, and I'm just about gonna finish this, okay? All right, it's probably more like a tablespoon and a half. And since I didn't have enough of the 3 onion, we've got a garlic rub. So I'm just gonna do half a capful, and that'll make 2 tablespoons of seasoning. That kind of goes into that. So don't be afraid to experiment a little bit with our seasonings, because I think you're gonna find that they work great as condiments too. I've dressed up some salad dressing with them before. So just experiment. We've got some other great dips as well. And then so about a half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball that because I like to measure that with my heart. All right, and now we're gonna turn on the stand mixer to do the work. So I'm just gonna close up the stand mixer, okay? And this is a great tool from Pampered Chef. And one of the things I love about it is it's got these presets here, okay? You've got custom, you've got whip, cream, mix, beat, and knead. And as I turn the dial, it tells me which tool. So you've got a mixing blade that I've got on the product right now. All right, and I love that it's got kind of a little scraper on the side, can help scrape the bowl. But also we've got a dough hook that comes with it. We've got a whisk that also comes with it. So there's 3 attachments. So for this recipe, we're gonna select it to mix. And the time is already preset, but I can press the button and I can dial up the time or dial down the time, okay? I like how that the mixing ramps up. It starts slow and then it starts to speed up, so you don't get like an explosion of ingredients everywhere. All right, and so you get this great beeping noise to let you know, hey, it's over, come check me out.
Okay, so our meat mixture has already been done, and I love that I didn't have to get my hands all meaty and in my rings and my fingernails and everything. So I did want to show you a couple other things about the stand mixer, because I used to have a stand mixer, and my best friend got it for me when I got married 26 years ago. I didn't even register for the stand mixer, and she said, oh, Amy, this is gonna look really cool on your counter. That's all the instruction I got. I got this little booklet. And whenever I would try to use it, it had one of those little slider adjustments on it. So I didn't know if I should start recipes like at a 10 or a 1, but I always like to cook fast. So I would shove that thing over to a 10 and I'd have an explosion of flour. So in the video, I hope you saw that it started out slow, but kind of like a third of the way to halfway through the time, it started to ramp up because it gently incorporates the ingredients. And then because it's pre-programmed at whatever setting, it starts to speed up based on, what setting you choose, of course. And then that way it mixes it just perfectly. All right, so it says end. I'm gonna hit cancel to just stop it. And and plus it's lighter. That's one of the things too. My other stand mixer was like, oh, so heavy. It was over 30 pounds. This is 17 pounds. It's got a great little handle notch in the back here. It's got a little handle notch under the front, so I can easily move it around. But the front of this pops off and this is where the gear is, so you can have some of our other attachments that we've come out with. Primarily the pasta maker. We've got a pasta roller that rolls, that cuts into fettuccine, spaghetti. So we've got a pasta attachment. I'm hoping we'll have more in the future. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop this open, and we're gonna go ahead and put our meat mixture into our pan. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna let it back down, just have a little bit more room to work. Pop it open here, get out this little mixing paddle. That off. Okay, back to go in the dishwasher. And now this 6-quart bowl is full of this beautiful meatloaf mixture that I can pop right into our pan. And both pans are gonna go into the oven to cook, all right, at the same time, which gives me an opportunity to do a little cleanup. I'm gonna walk my dog. So dinner is gonna be taken care of while I go on and do other things in my life. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. Like, we're just as busy as we wanna be, right? And sometimes I start thinking about dinner like at 6 o'clock and I'm like, oh, well, let me just go whip up something here, okay? But with a little bit of planning, you can easily have what you need for the week. And I love to have some extra food. So it's just my husband and me. And we love leftovers. As a matter of fact, I think leftovers taste better kind of in the next day or two. But this is also a recipe that I love to make for someone who maybe, you know, just needs a meal. I think it's savory, it's healthy, it's got good flavor. Okay, so there we go. All right, time to put both pans into a preheated 400-degree oven. Are you getting hungry yet? I am. Okay, I've taken our meatloaf out and I'm gonna make a glaze. A 1/4 cup of the teriyaki sauce, a 1/4 cup of ketchup. We're gonna use the basting brush. I'm just gonna use it as my little scraper. And about 2 tablespoons of honey. And this is just another one of our measuring tools. It's got the little slider adjustment here. So I like it for things that are sticky. So there's 1 tablespoon of honey. We'll just push that out. This goes up to a tablespoon and down to a teaspoon. So just by adjusting that slider, you can get a measurement in between. Okay, now, just give it a mix here. And we're gonna put half the glaze on top of our meatloaf and then put it back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes. So this makes probably, when I put it all together, about a cup, half a cup. So I'm just gonna pour this till it's about 1/4 cup left, because then we're gonna use the rest of it to serve with when we're done. Okay, I'm gonna put my gloves back on. My little oven gloves here. Put it back into the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes with the rice, and it'll be ready to eat. All right, y'all, dinner is done. Doesn't this look amazing? We've got the fried rice here. The rice has absorbed all the liquid. We've got our vegetables in here. It smells amazing. Of course, the teriyaki sauce helped flavor this, right? And also our chicken broth. And then we've got our beautiful turkey meatloaf. It's got a lovely glaze on top that you just saw me make. And then we're gonna keep the other part of the glaze here to serve as a sauce if people feel like that they need more flavor. But just look at how gorgeous that turned out. And then I can just, when they cool, I can just put the lids on them, put it back in the fridge, and I've got leftovers for tomorrow. So many things you can do with these loaf pans.